The story begins 3 years after the first movie, and Moana is exploring with her pig Pua. Then she starts to climb the island's mountain, and she realizes that her rooster has already arrived. Moana uses a seashell to sound as an instrument, and says that she hopes to meet more people, but suddenly we see that they had slipped and fallen off the mountain. Moana realizes that there is a broken plate, and that means that people lived on the island. Then she is on her way to get to her island, and starts singing that she is excited to go home. We go to the island, and they say that the village grew because of the spirits. The people realize that Moana has arrived, and begin to approach her to welcome her. She starts showing them that she found a plate of a different material, and that this proves that there are more people. Suddenly we hear Simia screaming, and she is excited that her sister is back. They then go on their way to the cave of their ancestors, and says that there they discovered that they are a voyaging people. Moana tells her sister that the chief of their tribe wanted to connect the ocean, and that she would be in charge of continuing his legacy, while Maui is flying to reach an island, and wants to convince the gods to open a portal, because they had trapped him so that he would not return to the humans, due to the fact that it would be dangerous to encounter Nalo. We return to the island, and the chief decides that they would name Moana as the new Tautai. They then begin to prepare to start with the ceremony, and they name Moana as the connector of the oceans. But suddenly we see that a storm has started, and Moana is teleported by the lightning that hit her. She realizes that she is having visions about the past, and that her ancestors were attacked by the storm god Nalo. Tautai begins to tell her that she must reunite the tribes, otherwise it would be the end of her island. So she must find a legendary island known as Motufetu. Then they start telling her that it was an ancient island where the canals gathered and connected the islands that exist in the ocean, while in the distance a star is falling, and they begin to think that it is a signal. Moana is worried about the mission she was given because it could cause her to never return home. Suddenly she realizes that the spirit of her grandmother has appeared and begins to motivate her to feel better. In the next morning, Moana begins to tell them about her mission and says that she would find the island to reconnect her people. Then her friend Loto proposes to help her to build another ship because they need more space for their new crew. Simia is worried that she will get hurt on her journey, and Moana tells her that she doesn't have to worry because the ocean is her friend. They then begin to prepare for the voyage, and Moana sets off with her crew, while Maui is trapped and ends up being bathed with a viscous substance. We return to the ship, and Moana is having problems with her new crew because her friends don't want to listen to her sailing advice. Then they start singing to make it more fun and solve the problems that caused their differences. But suddenly we see that the star had exploded, and the ship is attracted by a mysterious current that leads them to an island. Moana tells her crew that it is not an island and that it is actually a pirate crew. They then realize that they are being ignored because they are going to be eaten by some kind of monster. We start to see that they are being attacked by the pirate crew, and they end up capturing them as their new prisoners. But suddenly we see that the captain notices their flag emblem, and they begin to tell them that they were also affected when they divided the ocean. Moana realizes that she was wrong and that the pirates actually have good feelings, so they decide that they will work as a team and use the toxin to defeat the monster. Then they go on their way to approach the clam, and we see that by accident they start to be attracted to the inside of his stomach. But suddenly we see that a pirate has arrived, and he uses the poison to defeat the monster, which ends up causing them to begin to fall and get trapped inside his stomach, where we can see that Maui was trapped, and the team gets excited because they are fans. Maui uses a rope to get his hook and starts to transform because he got his powers back. Moana realizes that her sister has arrived, and we see that she is actually being tricked by some kind of illusion. Then she meets the demigoddess Matangui and says that she is the assistant of the storm god. She starts singing to him that she would help her with her mission because it would cause her to be free from her confinement. Matangui shows her that they can use the portal left by the gods, and Maui is surprised that her friend opened it. Moana promises Matangui that she will end the curse and that they will meet again when she leaves the cave. Maui tells Moana that it is too dangerous because the legendary island had been hidden in a monstrous storm. Suddenly we see that they came out of the passage, and Moana realizes that her friend the ocean did not reach that location. Then they are attacked by a giant eel, and Maui defeats it very easily. We begin to see that they go at high speed to escape the monsters and end up being saved because it was dawn. We go to an island, and we see that the team is afraid of the danger of the mission. Then they found the boat of their ancestors, and Moana is scared that the same thing will happen to them. Maui starts to motivate her to feel better and tells her that he trusts her because she once saved him. Then he starts singing to motivate her because she can achieve anything she wants to because they have been through many kinds of adventures and have always overcome any of the difficulties. While While her friends were working as a team to repair the boat and use the parts of their ancestors' boat, Moana motivates her team to not be afraid and says that they are capable of defeating the storm god. They then go on their way to continue their adventure, and they are approaching the location of the island. But suddenly we see that a storm is forming and they are going to be hit by a giant wave. So they decide that they would turn it around and work as a team to move their boat, while Maui is transforming to attack the storm and is able to destroy it to save his friends. Suddenly they realize that they had reformed and that they ignored Maui to focus on the humans. So they decide that they are going to be the distraction and he has to take advantage of it to get closer to the island. We start to see him go at high speed to accomplish his mission, and he uses his hook to get a hold of the island. While his friends modify the boat to make it faster to dodge the tornado's blow, Maui uses his strength to bring him back to the surface so his friends can step on him to break the curse. But suddenly we see that he is being attacked by a lot of thunder and that this had caused him to become human again. Moana is confused about what to do, and she has the idea that she has to dive to get to the island. While her friends are on their way to rescue Maui, Moana is able to get there so the curse is broken, and she ends up getting hit by the storm's lightning. Maui jumps into the water to look for her friend and realizes that she has passed away. But suddenly we see that Maui begins to cry and ends up being revived by the spirit of her ancestors because she was chosen to be a demigoddess, and we see that Maui had also gotten his powers. We begin to see that Maui uses his powers to lift the island, and Moana helps him to reconnect the ocean, with which they manage to get everything back together, and the different people in the ocean begin to arrive. We go to the island, and Simea is happy that her sister is back. Then Moana shows them that they are being visited by the other tribes of the world, and the pirates are happy that they completed their mission. As a post-credits scene, Matangui is being scolded by the storm god and says that trouble is about to start. This is how the movie ends. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on what more movies you would like to see on the channel.